Tribal Health and Human Services Department of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes is proud to present Good Medicine, a program dedicated to the wellness of the Flathead Nation. The mission is summarized quite simply: a healthier people, a stronger nation. We will strive to make Good Medicine a reliable source of ideas and information about health issues so that everyone can make informed decisions about their own lifestyle and health care. You will meet health professionals, tribal government and spiritual leaders, and interesting people from the tribal community discussing important health issues that profoundly affect us all.
Hello, this is Good Medicine. I'm your host, Larry Pitts, and today we have two very distinguished ladies, and always I seem to use that word distinguished, but today it is really true. Across from me is Kipp, and she's our community liaison for the Healthy Nations NetLink program, and we have Brenda Morton, who is our clearinghouse liaison. And ladies, welcome aboard. It's nice to have you here today. I'm sure it's going to be a very informative session. Is there anybody out in TV land you want to say hello to? Penny?
No.
Hi, honey.
I'm sorry.
Brenda, how about you?
No.
Neither one of you have anybody you want to. That's really pathetic. But
here.
Is that very healthy? No, I don't want anybody. All right. So, ladies, to get started, let's keep talking about your program. We'll start with Penny. Penny, what is a Healthy Nations NetLink program? I mean, I hear about that in my travels within the tribe, and I'm sort of at loss for it, I guess.
The Healthy Nations program is a program that is funded through the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. It's a 4-year program. It'll last until the year 2000, April of 2000. It's a program to reduce substance abuse amongst Native Americans.
Mm-hmm. What brought this program about? Why did the foundation start a program like this?
The foundation took a look at reservations throughout the United States and saw a need to fund reservations to do programs which were community-based and that fits the needs of the particular communities. We were one of the 15 reservations throughout the United States that were funded to look at substance abuse on a reservation.
All right. Has it been successful so far?
I think it has. It's gotten some good media out there. It's gotten some good interaction and discussion going with some people about substance abuse, about tobacco use, and I believe we're going to begin taking a look at cocaine.
All right. So there is an awareness starting to happen more and more. Brenda, going to you now. Starting with the NetLink resource line, who is NetLink for?
Well, it's for professionals in the communities as well as the people in the communities themselves to access resource information.
Now, what kind of resource are we talking about? I mean, you're talking about drug addiction, you're talking about alcoholism, you're talking about use of tobacco. What other type of resource are you talking about?
We have information on quite a few different resources in the area. We have information on housing. We have information on transportation, on child care, and
so you're
human service type.
You're a clearinghouse of all the different resources available to people who are on the reservation. How about off the reservation at all? Or?
Well, what I do for off reservation, because within our reservation boundaries we have 4 counties, Lake, Missoula, Sanders, and Flathead. Missoula has a information line that I give. I give the 800 number or the phone number for them, and the Sanders County and Flathead.
Okay. Now, I've talked to you in the past, because in my job I touch a lot of people, and it'd be really nice to give your 800 number out. Right. How soon are you guys going to have a booklet or
a directory?
A directory.
We're working on a directory as we speak.
Okay.
It's being worked on
Which
right
means,
now.
Okay. Does that mean that it's going to be done by spring? Hopefully?
Hopefully, yes,
Okay.
by spring.
Okay, that'd be a good target date.
Yes.
How does NetLink serve the community? Brenda?
Well, it's one central place. Say you, just for an example, you have a young lady who is maybe coming back from treatment or something and needs to get a hold of maybe housing or financial assistance or medical information or something. You know, I have that on the database to where she could just go to one place and find out information on the different resources available to her.
You know, and that's such a valuable tool, because I know people who might be watching this have gone through the system, know that it seems like you have to fill out everything so many times, and you're going to this person, oh, they're not in today, well, and you didn't know that, well, you need to go see somebody else, so you're trying to shorten up that time span.
Right,
basically.
so they don't have to make several different trips to the resources that they may need to get to.
And so you put all the resources in one database.
Yeah, and I try to put information on there to where it would tell them what they need to take with them if they need to go to Polson. Like they need proof of income or statement from a bank or you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's valuable, because so often you get to some place and you don't have it.
Right, and you have to.
Driver's license? I don't have a driver's license.
Right.
It's that type of thing. What communities can be accessed by the NetLink?
Well, all the communities within the reservation boundaries, our service area is the reservation. And like I said earlier, that includes the 4 counties. But for now, I've just been giving the telephone number for Flathead County's resource information, Sanders County.
Now, is that by the physical address, or is it by the mailbox? Or, I mean, say somebody lives out, you know, just off the reservation up on Evero, but they get their mail in our league, would they be considered reservation? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
They would be.
I mean, you know, it sounds like a dumb question, but there are people out there who are sitting there wondering that, well, do I qualify? And especially people over in Hot Springs.
Right.
They're on no man's land.
Yeah.
So briefly, tell us what Healthy Nations portion of this grant that you were talking about originally, the Johnson Wood Foundation, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Penny?
Okay. What we do is we work with media. We like to get some word out there about substance abuse. We like to work with kids. We've done a few PSAs that have showed on SKC-TV. We've worked with kids in our communities and letting them design them, letting them videotape them on some poster stuff. I also do some of the advertising for the clearinghouse. We have out the little magnets. And if you don't have a magnet in your home and you're wanting to get a magnet, we give them out free by calling the 1-800-800-5101 number.
Okay.
We'll be glad to send you a free magnet.
I would like that.
We do the billboards,
Okay.
right? We do the billboards that you see along Highway 93 with positive messages regarding to your lifestyles or to substance abuse. We've done some stuff with events. We co-hosted the Hot August Night with KQ92 just before school started, just to give our kids a healthy attitude and a healthy kickback to school is what we called it. And it was for teens of all ages. We had about 250 people who showed up at the radio station and had a wonderful evening. People got to be on the radio. People got to give messages. Just another way of getting the word out and getting kids involved and getting them and saying they too would like to live a substance-free life or would like to live a healthy life in some way.
Now, I also noticed down here, you know, we were talking earlier, we were talking about this discussion component, and that you try to get the departments talking. Want to explain that to me?
That's another portion of the grant. It's called the discussion groups, and it actually asks for us to gather tribal health within itself, maybe the nurses and the dental and the alcohol program, mental health, parenting, everybody to come and talk about the substance abuse problems that we have in regards to alcohol. Lately, the latest one we did was on tobacco, and we talked about what is it that we don't like, not that we don't like, but what is it that we would like changed about tobacco? What are our laws on this reservation concerning tobacco? What is the health risks of tobacco, and how can we impact that as professionals? How can we take that out into our jobs? What kind of information do we need to give to youth who maybe have questions about it? And the next topic that we want to talk about would be cocaine, because I don't think that we're as wise about cocaine as we need to be as professionals. I think we need to know more facts about it. We have people who, cocaine's beginning to be a problem here, a crank, I guess it is.
CO and CR, both are a problem, actually.
And so in order to combat that in a professional manner, we're going to have to be more knowledgeable about it. So just a matter of getting everybody together and having a smart discussion about it.
Okay.
And what are we going to do as professionals to impact that?
So this is a little time to sort of pat yourself on the back. What are some of the projects you guys have done? What are some of the projects you have scheduled for the future? Okay.
Okay, like I said, we've done some videos. We've done some PSAs in regards to, I believe there was an alcohol one that showed, there were 2 alcohol ones that showed here. We've done the Hot August Night. We have sponsored the women's conference, the men's conference that happened last spring, I believe it was. We're part of the health fairs.
She mention anything, Brenda? Can you think of?
Yeah, we did a smoking PSA.
Yeah,
PSA,
smoking survey.
Awareness.
And I've also done a smoking survey through the reservation to check on the class of 2001, the class of 2000, which is the sophomore class of this year, who, when they became kindergartners, first graders, the state of Montana had them do a 2000, we're the class of 2000, the non-smoking class. And kind of see where they were at with that. The results were that they need to give some more information to the class of 2000.
Okay.
It's not working for them just yet.
All right. Well, ladies, it's been great having you aboard today. We're going to take a quick break here for a PSA to change guests so that they aren't saying, how did this other person get on this panel here? And I do want to thank you. I have one last question for you, Penny. Is it true that you spilled something on your blouse on the way here for lunch today? Or
No, Larry.
Oh, okay, good. I like that.
That was rumored. That's how rumors get started.
That's how rumors get started. Well, ladies, again, thank you very much. I do appreciate your time. And we'll be right back. Thank you.
Alcohol use among our youth on the Flathead Indian Reservation is increasing at an alarming rate. Every community has a healthy alternative. Discover yours. This message brought to you by the Dixon community.
Poof, it's magic. Penny's gone, Brenda's gone, and Irene's here. It's just like it's the magic of television. Irene, it's good to have you aboard today. Is there anybody you want to say hello to?
Oh, just to everybody out there.
Okay. For those of you who don't know who Irene is the program manager for Crisis Care Project, and I just gave her a new tribal name. I call her India. Yeah, Irene, what is your title this week, Lake? That was, by the way, a Frank Tyro, but Irene, what we'd like to talk today with you about a little bit is the Crisis Care Project. What is this?
Crisis care is something that we have just accessed in our tribe now. It's daycare money or child care money for people who are in a crisis, who just need a respite from their kids. Maybe one of the things that could be used for is if a parent was going to go to treatment, or if the one parent went and the other one needed to go for a family week or something, and they need a place to leave kids. It's some money that they can access actually to help take care of a crisis just while they get things together. You know, crisis can come in positive or negatives, and many times it does come in a positive way, where parents need a way to do some lifestyle changes. And what do you do with the kids while you're doing that?
What about, say, someone sitting out there and they want to go for care, some sort of treatment, and their significant other, their husband or whatever, is working and he can't see how he can take care of the kids for that week while she's gone, or vice versa, would they qualify?
Yes, they would qualify for that. We actually have two different kinds of daycare or crisis care that we're accessing now. We're accessing daycare. So maybe in that situation, Dad would take the kids to daycare during the day and then pick them up at night, and the kids would pretty much follow the regular routine. There's also 24-hour care. So if it needed to be something that needed to happen for a week or 2 weeks or something, we could really actually access 24-hour care. We have one person now who's willing to do that 24-hour care for us, and we're looking for other homes. We're looking for licensed foster care homes who might be willing to look at how to get payment from a different source.
Wow. Yeah, that's an intriguing idea, you know, because we do have a lot of different situations in our lives, and with two different type of programs, you know, within one, under one umbrella, you're touching, you know, both angles.
There's another kind of crisis care that we can do either, and it's what we call parent-selected daycare or crisis care. It would mean that a parent, if we need a 2-week notice, but if a parent knew that they were going to go to treatment, or they knew something was coming up a couple of weeks down the road and that they were going to need daycare, we can actually access someone to come into their home at their choice and pay them to stay in their home while something goes on with them.
Can they also, if they were doing that, choose somebody a couple weeks ahead of time to take to them?
Yes, they could do that.
Go the other direction?
That could happen too, although it's not quite as easy for us to set that up with the paperwork as is to have somebody come into their house. The idea of having somebody come in is often very appealing because kids' routines don't have to change, and you know, things can pretty much stay the same for kids while mom or dad is dealing with whatever's going on in their life.
So instead of coming over to Uncle Larry's, Uncle Larry has to go over to their place.
It really works better for us as far as how we set that up.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Who's it for? You know, what population is this for?
We do it for anybody who's not eligible for state child protective services daycare. So if there's there's a family who's been working with tribal social services who can access the state money, they need to do that. But this is for everybody else. So this is for people before they get into the system to access some kind of care for their kids while something's going on with the family.
So there really is a pecking order that you have to follow. In other words, if you don't qualify here, then you are eligible. So you're trying to get the people who filter down through that.
There also needs to be a referring agency for us to work with. So that could be the public health nurse, or it could be one of the Protect Our Children home-based service workers. It could be just anybody who works for an agency. It actually could be the child protective service worker who might come out and see that there's nothing substantiated there, but that the family needs a respite break. So it could be just about any agency could work as a referring agency, but we need somebody to come in and work with that family and work with Brenda Morton, who was just on with the Netling project, actually does the intake on this project as well, and she needs an agency person to work with.
She really is a clearinghouse, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
All right. How long has this project been going within the tribe?
Well, we actually became aware of the money last spring, and we wrote through Montana Council for Family to access that money, but we've just been able to actually get everything in place, and so the last couple of weeks we've been actually being able to get people into crisis care. So it's a pretty new project.
I was going to say, so somebody out there saying, I was never aware of that, there was a reason for that.
There was a reason, because we haven't really been able to do it until just about 2 weeks now.
Now, are you putting PSAs out on this program?
Yes, we are. We're getting information out to agencies so that they know that we have some money. Actually, it's a very limited pot of money. It's about $7,000. And we're to serve 13 families in a year. So it's a pretty limited pot of money also. So we're also having to look at the real crisis in families. And but pretty much we're doing a first come, first serve kind of thing. And when the money's gone, it'll be gone. So I don't know whether we can make it last a whole year or whether it will last 2 months. We really aren't very clear about how long the money will last, because it's a small pot and daycare is expensive.
Your quota is not one a month then?
It's not one a month. We need to work with 13 families in need, and we will just take those families as they show. How
does it work as far as daycare for 24 hours? I mean, Do they take total control of the child for that amount of time, or?
We have that Brenda will do an intake with the parent, and we'll try to find as much out about that parent as they can. And remember, it's a voluntary thing. So parents are taking their child to that daycare, to that 24-hour caregiver willingly. The kid is, we do some training with the daycare provider or the child care provider so that they kind of know what to expect of kids who are coming in there and aren't used to maybe being in daycare or staying overnight anywhere. And so we work with it's a family-centered kind of child care, so that the parent and the child care provider work closely together.
No, you're trying to stimulate the child in the most optimal way, and you're trying to keep them in the nicest surrounding as possible.
Well, you know, it works well. If we say we have a family who gets in crisis for some reason, and it's a school child, we would try to figure out how to keep that child in school and keep that routine going for them, so that there's as little upset to the child as we can have. And it's different from some other kinds of care that kids have been in here, where they know their parents are coming back. This is a temporary kind of thing. So if kids are in a 24-hour placement, maybe for 3 or 4 days, or for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, whatever that length of time is, they know their parent is going to return. This is limited to 30 days per family. So
that was my next question when I heard that. Is how long can this last? I mean, most treatments don't last a week.
No.
The most are 28 days.
Yeah, 28 days. We're limited by the funding guidelines to 30 days per family. So that means if it would be 30 days of either daycare kinds of situation, or 30 days of 24-hour care, or 30 days of having someone come in and a parent selected. So we can't, it's not like we would take anybody's kids for 6 months. It's
Right.
actually very limited kind of funding.
You know, we talked a little bit about how how long the money was going to last. As far as, you said there's $7,000 to affect 13 families. Can you break that up into smaller amounts and more families?
Yes, we could do that if we need to do that. We could do more families. We couldn't do less. We need to do at least 13 families. And we need to look at, how that budget will stretch. Brenda will be keeping very close track of her projected budget for each family that we work with, so that we'll have an idea of how many families we can work with at one time.
Now, were there any models out there that had already done this before you guys applied for your grant? Or?
Crisis care is something they've been doing in the state of Montana for 4 or 5 years now, and they usually have done it with the family preservation programs in different counties or in the state. They opened this up to do reservations, and so with this particular money, 3 reservations were given a shot to try to do a crisis nursery project. We were given some money. Blackfeet was given some money in Northern Cheyenne. And so we have technical assistance through Montana Council for Families to help us kind of think about how we can set it up and what kind of model that we need to have here and what works best.
And so that model's been set, so what you're trying to do, you're not reinventing the wheel, and you sort of have a big brother that does look over you somewhat?
We also have a lot of room in this to make a culturally sensitive program and to meet the needs of this particular community. So it's not the kind of money that's set in stone that we have to do it exactly this way. We have some options to think about how we can best do it and what will work best given our large area of the reservation.
What are some of the shortcomings of the program that you see?
Well, I think there's always a need for child care or for daycare, and that there's not enough money ever to access the needs that we see. In Protect Our Children project, we see a lot of need for respite care. A mom to have a day off every now and then to just do some self-care for herself, to be able to do some counseling for herself, maybe alcohol or mental health, or just to have a day to go to the grocery store and get things in order, just a day off from the kids, and there's never been enough money here to do that. And this is a small pot of money. It's not really going to take care of all the needs that we're going to see in that area, but in some places we can actually fit that in to the funding source that we have, that a mom might get a day or 2 here or there if they needed that kind of.
And that would fall
within crisis. Crisis can be a number of things. It can be anything from a family emergency, treatment, just mental distress, just an overload, that kind of thing. All of those things fit into crisis.
Now, if somebody's out there says, this fits me, I need this, who would they contact?
Well, they can contact the Protect Our Children project, and one of the home-based service workers would be glad to come and visit them and talk to them about their need for crisis care and kind of do a little assessment. If indeed they need to have crisis care, then the Protect Our Children home-based service worker, who is Janine Barnaby, Dana Tennis, or Rose Macis, would then get them an appointment with Brenda and go with them to do the intake with Brenda. Brenda's job as intake person is to set the care up and to make sure that all the paperwork is done right and that it goes smoothly. The referring agency, which can be, again, let me tell you, not just Protect Our Children service workers, but a public health nurse or anybody who works with families. CHR is a good example of that. Their job is to make sure that things are kind of running more smoothly in the family, and that the family makes that adjustment into care. Brenda won't be doing any real direct contact with the families other than the intake procedure.
So your project, this project couldn't be running by itself because, one, the budget is not large enough. The other thing is, it's covered, covered under the crisis care project, the umbrella of that.
It had to come under the umbrella of a program, and it kind of naturally fell under the Protect Our Children project because we're always doing prevention of child abuse and neglect and trying to work up front of referrals into the system, and we do that kind of family support piece, and so it naturally fell under the Protect Our Children project.
Well, since we're winding down right here, it shows you why we need to have you back on our program to talk about that program.
Oh, the Protect Our Children program?
Protect Our Children program.
Seems like we were just here, Larry, not very long ago.
Yes, but it's always, it's good to magnify this area. I mean, saying we're here to help, and you're not out there by yourself.
That's right. We do have a lot of support for families, and if families are feeling sort of overwhelmed and in need of just somebody to talk to and somebody to help them identify the resources that are available to them, they could call the tribal number 1-800-823-8228 and ask for the Protect Our Children project, and we'd be glad to work with them. We also offer parenting groups in 5 communities on a weekly basis so that you can have some support and some education around parenting.
Okay. So, as you're saying, if you're out there, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling like there's a need, that please get hold of you at 1-800-823-8228 at Tribal Health. And one last question then, Irene, is, I've had you on the program before, and you've done always a great job. Is there any reason you were sweating a little bit more today, or? Irene, I just want to thank you for coming aboard today. Again, it's been my pleasure.
Thanks,
I want to have you back on and talk to you more about this. For you out there in TV land, stay tuned and watch for Irene in the future, and I hope you learned something today. And good day.
Good Medicine is your program. We hope you watch this and subsequent programs to stay informed about your health care. And we'd like to hear from you about how we're doing. Please direct any comments or suggestions you have to us. You can reach us at